I'm building and doing pad tests to find out which pads I like the best for my drum sets. I'm using the DM5 Alesis as my MIDI brain, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm playing solos out of the Rick Latham Advanced Funk Studies book. The reason I'm doing that is because I want continuity, and if I improvise, what notes come out, come out. Where if I'm reading a solo, I'm getting exactly the same sound every time. Years ago, with Cleve Electronic Latin Percussion, I started out building these boxes. What it is a junction box, and I've sprayed foam insulation in it that you put between doors and windows. The foam insulation is going to expand, and as it's drying, it's going to look like bread that expands, and you have to really let it dry out good, and it's best to let it sit there for a day or two and punch holes up on top of it so that air gets in. Once it's hard, you can take a hacksaw blade and just cut it right around the junction box. After I have that, I glue weather stripping, like door weather stripping. That's what the black stuff is, so that I can float my piezo up on top of it. The surface that I'm hitting is a cover plate for the box. I glue the piezo onto the cover plate, and I'm using 16-inch gum rubber from Canal Street Rubber Supply in New York. And if you have to get the rubber there, don't worry about them. They're very reputable people, and you can use your credit card. You have to make sure that you use silicone for gluing this stuff, because other glues will dissolve the foam on the inside. Also, silicone is very easy to take off. I use silicone for putting on all of my piezos. In the video, you saw this. This is a Remo practice pad. There's a steel disc that's 26 gauge inside the practice pad, not touching the ends, with a piezo on it. I put a knot in the wire so the wire doesn't pull out, run the wire through, and I'm ready to go. What happens is you have to split the foam rubber inside here, put the disc in, and put the other part of the split foam rubber up on top. They have a 1/4-20 screw on the bottom here, so you can either put it on a cymbal stand, or you can put these caps on like I do and bolt them in, and then that way, if you have a frame like I have, you can just slip this right on the frame, and it's very easy to collapse and take off. You can find out this stuff in detail by going to electronicsdrums.com. It says electronic drums, build your own dash LOGIZITIX. And the address is http://www.electronicdrums.com/pads/pads2.htm. It gives you absolute instructions on how to do this. These pads, which I was using on my hi-hat and the cymbal, is the same thing as my old pads. I have a piece of wood, I put a T-nut in it, and that way I can either put it on a cymbal stand or I can put my caps on it. The foam door weather stripping is floating. The top, I try to get as thin plywood as I can, anywhere from 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch. If you're going to get an 1/8 inch, it's going to come out to be Luan. Glue the piezos on it, on the inside, and it's the same thing. And I also use silicone glue on this. I use silicone on everything. and it's the same gum rubber. I went into a Yamaha pad and found that what Yamaha did is they took a plastic disc, put the piezo on the plastic disc, put little tabs on it, and floated it, glued it onto this top surface, so the piezo is actually on the disc and the vibrations are getting a much more even sound. I did that on the hi-hat side that you saw, but I did not do that on the cymbal side. I'm going to go through all of my pads that are like this and put that disc in because it comes out more even. This is something that I stole off of like a Nintendo drum set that they use for playing games with. I don't understand it, but I found it on the street, scrounged 2 of these off of it. It's just plastic, and inside here is the piezo. It's very, very straight ahead, and they have rubber up on top that they have molded on. If you want to go dual zone, it's very easy. This is a dual zone pad that I made because I wanted to substitute ghost notes on a snare drum for hand claps. So I made a disc, a ring. This is all put on again with floated by the door weather stripping. Left a space about a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch between them. Made another disc, again with the black weather stripping on. This has a piezo on it, this has a piezo on it. So I get my dual kind of thing. I wanted it this wide because so I could shift back and forth like you do on your own snare drum. Other than that, it's the same configuration of all the other ones. They tell you that you can dual zone these things, but I'm telling you, when you start dual zoning the pad and putting the piezos on, like on the side like this, like they tell you to do, I guarantee you, you're going to start getting crosstalk. So what I did is I cut me a ring, put the piezo on the ring, put the weather stripping on the ring, and left spaces in between so it would lay flat on where the screws are, and this sits right up on top. You can put this on by using double stick carpet tape, and you're not going to have a problem. That way you don't have to glue this on, and you can take it off easy if you have to get to your screws to take your head out for some reason or any other. I think that covers about everything that you saw on that video except my feet, which I'll get to in another video, because the DM5 gets a little tricky with the hi-hat because it's an on and off switch, and a momentary on and off switch like your doorbell. So you have to be much more accurate with your foot than you do with a real hi-hat. All right. That does it for this video.